In the entertainment industry, you can break records, give Emmy-winning performances, and achieve numerous accolades, yet still be made to feel like it's never enough, as the road to success is never ending. This has led many actors to lose themselves in the ultimate quest for everlasting fame. But Andre Braugher, whose commanding presence captivated audiences worldwide, never let his talent or the notoriety overshadow his love for his family and his community. And in the 14th chapter of the Unfortunate Demise series, we will detail his life, his career, and his untimely death at the age of 61. If there are any other public figures you'd like to see covered in the Unfortunate Demise series, please leave your suggestions in the comments below. Let's get started. Andre Keith Braugher was born on July 1st, 1962, in Austin, Illinois, a crime-ridden community on Chicago's West Side. He grew up with 3 older siblings, his mother, who was a postal worker, his father, who was a heavy equipment operator, and his grandmother, who taught him how to read at a very young age. But by the time he started public school in the 1st grade, the school didn't allow him to read. Instead, the kids sat in a circle and played around. Andre quickly became bored. He would go home and tell his father, who immediately pulled him out of Chicago's public school system that day and placed him in private school the next day. Though their environment was rough, the family saw Andre's intellect and determination early on and would invest in him as they knew he was destined for greatness. He would later tell the New York Times, "We lived in the ghetto. I could have pretended I was hard or tough and not a square, but I wound up not getting into trouble. I don't consider myself to be especially wise, but I will say that it's pretty clear that some people want to get out and some people don't. I wanted out." He would go on to attend St. Ignatius College Preparatory School, which was prestigious and at the time all male. His father, while proud, would stay on him. He said, "My dad was going to make me a scholar, come hell or high water. I mean, he checked my homework every night, and if there were erasures or pen marks, he had me do it over again. I spent a lot of time in the house, but the hard work and persistence paid off as his SAT scores were through the roof. He received a scholarship to Stanford University, where he studied to become a mechanical engineer. But now, being in the presence of women, a ton of them at that, he needed an outlet to meet and get well acquainted with them. That's when he decided to audition for a play, and after landing the role and performing the parts, Andre quickly fell in love. Not with the women on set, rather with acting as a whole. He said that the process invited you to explore the whole host of forbidden emotions and get compensated for it. Afterwards, people stood up and clapped. I began to realize that my fun, my enjoyment, my love life, and my emotional freedom were founded in the theater. And Andre was a beast at tapping into those emotions, and became known for the stern, bold intensity he added to each role, an essence that he captured effortlessly. He became more involved with college productions and would eventually change his major to drama, which today is called Theater and Performance Studies. But all of this would lead to a rift between him and his father. His dad said, "We got dancers and singers in our family, and that crap doesn't go anywhere. Name me some black actors earning a living." And Andre tried to throw in James Earl Jones and Sidney Poitier, but his dad said, "They're superstars. What are you going to do? Juggle and travel the country?" But after seeing Andre's performance in the school's production of The Emperor Jones, he was enamored with his son's acting talents. He then told Andre, "You did a damn good job, and I'm proud of you." And with these words, Andre would fully embrace his newfound love for acting, and after graduating Stanford, he secured a scholarship to Juilliard, where he attended the school's drama division. Over the next 4 years, while studying and perfecting his craft, he held down several jobs like working at a bank, being a waiter, and he even drove a taxi at one point. After graduating in 1988 and being named the most outstanding theater student of his class, he immediately went into off-Broadway productions of Coriolanus, Twelfth Night, Much Ado About Nothing, and King John for the New York Shakespeare Festival. Following this, Andre would audition for and land a role in his first film, the American historical war drama, Glory, which was the first major motion picture to tell the story of black U.S. soldiers fighting for their freedom from slavery during the Civil War. It featured Denzel Washington and Morgan Freeman.
Hey, let me tell you.
Shut up, Trip.
Will you get up off me, Snowflake?
Can't you see that he's mute?
He what?
He's mute.
You mean this child can't talk?
He's mute.
What's your name, right?
I had never done a film before, and I didn't know anything about filming. I didn't know what a mark was. I didn't know how to match my actions. I didn't know what a close-up was. And, this was on Glory, and Denzel Washington and Morgan Freeman really put their arms around my shoulders and led me through the process of how to work with the camera, how to understand how to bring out my performance, how to modulate it, for the camera. And I'm forever grateful for that. I mean, our careers have gone in a million different directions, and I haven't worked with either one of them since 1989, but they were part of the foundation of my career in film and television. And so I'm very grateful to them today for what they did in 1989.
The film was a success and a staple in black entertainment history. I know we all watched that movie in school. Denzel would receive an Academy Award, a Golden Globe Award, and an NAACP Award for his performance in the film, and even the film's score received a Grammy Award. However, for film newcomer Andre Braugher, though he received praise and recognition for his performance, this didn't translate to him receiving a ton of scripts for big films. Maybe his accomplishment was seen as beginner's luck, who knows. But the scripts that he did receive were less than ideal, and he turned them all down. He told the Chicago Tribune, "For lack of better words, I got a lot of N-word scripts, basically portraying stereotypical, unhuman, uncomplex, thick-lipped, long-limbed heathens. I get those and I throw them in the garbage can. I am a member of a very complex and rich valued race. I just don't buy seeing lies about my race perpetuated." With things not shaping up in the way of big screen productions, he decided to focus his efforts on television, and this would ultimately become his bread and butter. He would go on to star in ABC's Kojak movie series, 5 of them to be exact, playing Winston Blake, a young detective assigned to Kojak's command. From there, he would star in several other TV films like Murder in Mississippi, Class of '61, Terror in the Towers, and Somebody Has to Shoot the Picture. With his firm, commanding presence, the majority of his roles were portraying a man wearing some kind of uniform. That's just his niche, and he had it down to a T. But he also enjoyed putting his own spin on things. He said, "I just can't do one-dimensional roles. If the role is sweet, I want to turn it ugly. If it is ugly, I want to turn it sweet." He would also star as Jackie Robinson in The Court Martial of Jackie Robinson, before landing his most critically acclaimed role at the time as Detective Frank Pimbleton in Homicide: Life on the Street. And while the show featured an ensemble cast, it would be Andre who emerged as the breakout star.
Come out. They call him brilliant.
You shot him, didn't you?
They call him TV's best actor.
She's the killer. This is my case. Did you say I'm nothing? Lies! He who loses control loses.
Giving the performance of the year. He's Andre Braugher.
If there's anything you left out,
He's on Homicide. Fridays on NBC.
For filming, Andre would move to Baltimore, a city that he would grow to love and cherish. He would hold down the role for 6 seasons, and in between performances and rehearsals, he would make visits to inner city schools to connect with the youth. Now, he had done the same thing whenever he would visit the youth from his old neighborhood in Chicago, because as he put it, "I'm equal to any other child who was born on July 1st, 1962. But while he represented an image of hope, he always kept it 100. He said kids don't like to be lied to. They're lied to from the minute they're born till the day they die. Kids don't like it. They're always saying, well, that just ain't true. So I go to these kids and I tell them the truth. I tell them that their city enjoys a high murder rate, and that they're likely to be the victims, and that their brothers and sisters are most likely to be the perpetrators. But we are a nation. We must come together. Literally, we must figure out a way to save our lives. That's what I say to these kids." And while in Baltimore, he would stop by the Baltimore School for the Arts, as he had a passion in seeing the youth transform their energy into art the same way he did. Now, prior to his appearance on the show, he had been introduced to actress Emmy through mutual friends, and he fell in love with her at first sight. The two would later be married in real life and on TV as well, as Emmy portrayed Detective Pimbleton's wife, Mary, on the show. As a matter of fact, there were many parallels with the character Frank and Andre himself, like the two sharing the same birthday, both graduating from a religious private high school, and Frank and Mary being the only couple on the show that stayed married, as Andre and Amy would remain married in real life for the rest of Andre's life. Now that's what I'm talking about. But during the show's off-season, Andre would star in a few more box office flicks from time to time, but it was his appearance in the film Tuskegee Airmen that earned him several prestigious award nominations and was one of my personal favorite performances of his.
As a United States Army officer who gladly puts his life on the line every day, there's no greater conflict within me. How do I feel about my country? And how does my country feel about me? Are we only to be Americans when the mood suits you? A fair and impartial opportunity is all we ask. Nothing that you yourselves wouldn't demand.
Though he wasn't an A-list mainstream actor, his works weren't without notice. In 1997, People magazine named him as one of the 50 most beautiful people in the world. And by 1998, as his time playing Detective Pimpleton was coming to an end, he would receive an Emmy nomination for his performance. It was actually the third Emmy nomination he had received at that point, but he had always been put up against more prominent actors on bigger TV shows, so it was much to his surprise when this night he won the Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series, making him the second black man in history to win in that category.
This is, hey, I gotta beat the music. Thanks to God for bringing me here. Thanks to my mother and father, Floyd and Sally in Chicago, for making it possible. My lovely wife, Amy, my boys, Michael and Isaiah. Thanks to our two great captains, Tom Fontana and Barry Levinson. Thanks to the writers, Jim Yoshimura is here tonight, a man I love and respect. Our producers, our cast, our crew, past and present, the ladies in the production office, and this is for all the people in Baltimore. This is a town that I love. We have finally made it. Thank you all.
Now I must mention, Andre also won an NAACP award that same year in the same category, as those awards are just as important. And this only led to more opportunities for Andre on and off the big screen. He had already appeared in the emotional tearjerker film City of Angels, but going into the 2000s decade, he would be featured in so many movies and TV shows that I simply can't name them all. But while many TV shows that featured him as a lead character, like on Gideon's Crossing and Hack, were short-lived, Andre always received critical acclaim for his performances. In 2006, he won his second Emmy Award, this time for Outstanding Lead Actor in a miniseries or movie for his portrayal of Nick Atwater in the FX miniseries Thief, which only lasted 6 episodes. He did snag a role on the hit TV show ER, but dropped out at the last minute to star as General Hager in Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer. Now how many of y'all remember that movie? Man, his character was mean as hell on there, but who remembers how his character died? When I tell you that was a very unsettling way to be taken out. I ain't like how they did that. That had me spooked, man. Hell nah. But anyway, he would also be enlisted to narrate many different specials for PBS, like Muhammad, Legacy of a Prophet, and The Murder of Emmett Till. He had also narrated the introduction of the Olympic Games on NBC from 2006 to 2010. Throughout it all, his main focus was being there for his family. By now, he and his wife had 3 sons, and the same way his father oversaw his development would be the same way he was devoted to being present with his boys. The family had relocated to New Jersey, but with every gig, no matter where in the world it took him, he always made his way back home, expeditiously, opting out of basking in the spotlight once the cameras stopped rolling.
Now, you're living in New Jersey and you're commuting to LA to do this?
Yes, I am.
What are you, nuts?
I am nuts.
What? Now, because you have 2 kids, right?
Yes, I do.
And they're in school, and you didn't want to pull them out.
Right, they need their daddies. We did a big football extravaganza this weekend. I'm still sore from that.
Yeah.
And, that's what you need to do. That's what we have to do.
Now, is it tough because you're gone the 5 days, and does your wife get on the phone and go, "You're not going to believe that's what that do"?
No, I hear about that. I hear about I hear about that.
Yeah.
And there's a list of things to do as long as my arm when I get home. But that's exactly what I want to be doing.
Right.
Because you got 4 kids, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It's tough, but it's a great thing.
Yeah.
Now, tell the truth. Did you take this job because it shoots in Hawaii?
I did not. Hawaii is 5,000 miles from home, and I'm a real homebody. So
So it's been tough, you
Oh,
know.
you're probably the only person that doesn't want to be shooting.
Well,
in
you
life.
know, it's paradise, but you know, it's like, who are you, you know, when you're just floating around? I'm not complaining.
Going into the 2010s, he wanted to switch things up a bit and tap into more comedy themes. His first taste of this was on the show Men of a Certain Age, opposite Ray Romano. And that show was one for the ages. Again, critically acclaimed, but again, underrated. And while Andre still had the authoritative roles on dramas like Law & Order SVU and Last Resort, his ultimate break into the comedy world would be on the show Brooklyn Nine-Nine in 2013, where he played the commanding Captain Holt with a brand of humor as dry as his personality that it was hard to tell whenever he was joking.
Never's not just a crater on Mars. Of course, it is a crater on Mars.
That's hilarious.
It's not meant to be funny, Boyle. It's meant to be devastating. You didn't want to burst my bubble, pun intended. And then you did.
So nice of you to greet us, Madeline. I thought surely you'd still be crushed under that house in Munchkinland.
Sticks and stones, Raymond.
Describing your breakfast? Works! I've never been more proud of you for anything in your life. I mean, I've solved a lot of cases for you, and yet crime has continued.
Andre won fans over with his delivery and quickly became a beloved fan favorite.
I feel as though my mind is expanding. I mean, my capabilities as an actor, my ability to mine the comedy is really rising up for the first time in my life. And so I'm really happy about this stage, being a part of the show.
From 2013 to 2021, Andre would appear in over 150 episodes, making this his longest role ever. But even with comedy came a need to touch on serious topics. With the public outcry against the slayings of unarmed black men and women at the hands of law enforcement, the demands for cop shows to at least address its role in perpetuating the heroic cop narrative without any nuance became more persistent among the viewers. And Andre, who was never one to shy away from issues within his community, was here for it, though he felt he hadn't been as upfront about the issues as he could have been. He told Variety, "I look up after all these years of playing these characters and I say to myself, it's been so pervasive that I've been inside this storytelling and I too have fallen prey to the mythology that's been built up." He said it's almost like the air you breathe or the water that you swim in. It's hard to see, but because there are so many cop shows on television, that's where the public gets its information about the state of policing. Cops breaking the law to, quote, defend the law is a real terrible slippery slope. It has given license to the breaking of law everywhere, justified it, and excused it. That's something that all cop shows are going to have to collectively address. Now, as Brooklyn Nine-Nine would incorporate more serious topics, as the show switched networks from Fox to NBC, Andre would make several more appearances, like in films Emily and Tim alongside Felicia Rashad, which explores a couple that changes different ages and races at different points in time to give a worldview perspective on love and relationships, which I thought was kinda neat. He also appeared alongside several other Emmy-winning actors and actresses in ABC's live remake of an episode of Good Times, which was hosted by Jimmy Kimmel in 2019.
Yes, over there?
Can I use the bathroom?
Yeah, you don't have to ask me, just go.
Yeah, but don't I need a key?
Oh, yeah. Who has the bathroom key?
Sorry, Seth, I forgot I had it.
All right, guys. We need to remember we only have the one key, all right?
In early 2020, he began rehearsing with Deborah Messing for a new play called Birthday Candles, which would have marked his first time on Broadway, as up to this point his theater productions were off-Broadway, which basically means a show with less than 500 seats. But as the Rona was making its way to the US, he consulted with his wife, and they ultimately made the decision for him to drop out. He said it was clear by that time that guys like me have a bullseye on our back. I'm 58, I'm overweight, and I have high blood pressure. So it was time to just bow out, which is unfortunate. But the wisdom of that became pretty apparent a couple of weeks later when all of New York officially shut down. He then went on to say that the counsel of his wife was paramount. We're like-minded. We grew up in similar neighborhoods, we share the same values. She knows me like the back of her hand, and I'm grateful for that. I made a choice along the way that Amy and the boys were too important to not spend quality time with. Both the health crisis and the democracy crisis that we're going through right now demonstrate to me that there is no substance in the bling. The focus on celebrityness, it's not real. So I just chose in my own way to sort of drop out. 2 years later, and after the pandemic ultimately sealed the fate of Brooklyn Nine-Nine after 8 seasons, Andre would go on to star in the last season of the show The Good Fight, before it too had ended. By early 2023, it was announced that Andre and several other acclaimed actors would begin filming a murder mystery series called The Residence Inside the Private World of the White House, set to premiere on Netflix. But after filming only 4 episodes, production would be suspended by the 2023 Hollywood labor disputes, which consisted of strikes of the Writers Guild of America and SAG-AFTRA. They said, y'all ain't paying, so we ain't filming. This went on for 6 long months until an agreement was met on November 9th, 2023. With this, production into the show was set to resume filming on January 2nd, 2024. But on December 11th, 2023, Andre Braugher would pass away after a brief illness. It was later revealed that he was diagnosed with lung cancer just months earlier, but it was too late in the stages. As a matter of fact, according to the American Lung Association, 1 in 16 black men will be diagnosed with lung cancer in their lifetime, and black men in the US have the highest death rate from lung cancer, as black Americans are less likely to be diagnosed at an early stage, and even less likely to receive surgery or any kind of treatment for lung cancer at all. Now, Andre had picked up smoking at some point early in his career, but stated that he had quit smoking by around 2010. Utterly shocked with grief, thousands of tributes would pour in from people who went to school with Andre, from fans, and from numerous celebrities who had worked with Andre over the years. But one of the most touching tributes came from actor Sterling Brown, whose path followed a similar trajectory as Andre's. And when he became the 3rd black man to win an Emmy in the same category as Andre, he gave him a shout out.
10 years ago, Detective Frank Pemberton held this joint, as impeccably played by Andre Braugher. I just want to say, Mr. Braugher, whether it is at Stanford University or on this Emmy stage, it is my supreme honor to follow in your footsteps. The passing of Andre Braugher, who was one of my favorite actors and somebody that I've looked up to my entire acting career. A lot of people don't know this, but he is a Stanford graduate, as am I. From the time that I was a freshman at Stanford University, people would talk about, yo, you could be like Andre Braugher. And I would watch Glory, and I'd watch Homicide, Life on the Street, or, City of Angels, whatever it was. And I was like, man, this guy is great. And people compare me to him. Like, that's really, really cool. I only got a chance to work with him one time on an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and it was awesome. And then in between takes, we would just talk. We would talk about what his journey through this career has been, what he'd seen me do. He would give suggestions, and having mentorship in this industry for a black man, it's few and far between. There's not a whole lot of them out there. And he's gone too soon. More than just what he was as an actor, him as an individual, as a person. Brooklyn Nine-Nine shot in LA, and his family lives in New Jersey. And every week, he would get on a plane, and even if his scene was the last one on Friday and the first one on Monday, he would go home and he would see his family. I remember how he valued his family and his presence in his family. Besides the magnificent work, he was a magnificent human being.
In an official statement from his family, they asked that donations be made to the Classical Theater of Harlem, where Andre had become a board member in 2019, bringing the theater to life for young people. He always looked out for fellow up-and-coming actors and performers. Still, it seems like he didn't receive all the accolades he deserved. Being nominated for 11 Emmys over 30 years and only winning 2 barely encompasses his talents as an actor. But even in death, the coverage was minimal. But despite however it seems on the outside, Andre lived a fulfilled life. He got to live his dream, chase his passion, and had a beautiful family with whom he still was able to spend much of his time with. And that is truly a life well lived. Rest in peace to the legendary Andre Braugher, man. Thank you for your contributions to TV and movies. Now, it's unclear what will come of his final performance in the murder mystery, or if they'll keep his character in the Netflix series at all. But in the meantime, this is Justified by Jury. Y'all know how to hit that like, and y'all know how to hit that subscribe. If you want to, do so, and I will catch y'all in the next video.